वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजना। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद। श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद। श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय जगन्नाथाय जय बलदेवाय सुभद्रमाय जय सुदर्शनाय। जय निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य। निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य। जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. Welcome to today morning Srimad Bhagavatam session. So today we are going to discuss on two verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, and that is third canto, 28th chapter, which is titled as Instructions on Execution of Devotional Service. Yeah, Kapila's instruction on the execution of devotional service. This is chapter name and verse number 30 and 31. So, just a bit of precursor before we actually begin to recite the actual sloka for today. So, the sequence which is going on is that Lord Kapila has mentioned, how a Ashtanga yogi or a muni, right? How a yogi means in this chapter he is essentially referring to Ashtanga yogi, right? So, how that yogi should, concentrate or focus or meditate on the form of the Lord. And he has actually begun earlier, like in previous verses, and he has described in great detail how one should concentrate on each limb of Lord Vishnu or Paramatma essentially here, right? In the heart, basically, one should concentrate on Paramatma, and each limb of the Paramatma one should actually very carefully concentrate on meditate, right? So one of the like major benefits he mentions that one's modes of ignorance that will be cleared up, thick mode of ignorance, very thick cover of ignorance, that also gets cleared up as we concentrate on the form of the Lord. So practically there is not much difference in the description of the bodily features of Paramatma and Narayana and Vishnu, 400 Vishnus, right? So there is practically not much difference. That we will see later. So even beginning from second canto itself, second canto, second chapter, right? The chapter titled there, The Lord in the Heart. So the description over there, right, in 5 verses and then 6 verses, how we should progressively meditate, right, on the limbs of Lord, right, in the heart, beginning from the lotus feet of the Lord, right? So if we observe the description there, and even if we go till 8th canto, 9th canto, even when Lord personally presents in front of the devotees, then also the description of his bodily limbs are pretty much similar, hardly any difference. So from that we can understand that Paramatma in the heart, Lord in the heart, is essentially Lord only, like Lord Vishnu only. So he is anyway Chirodaksai Vishnu, and practically we will see there is not much difference of Vishnu present in front and Vishnu present in the heart, right? So we will see that. So finally, beginning from the lotus feet darshan in previous verses and gradually to different limbs, finally we have reached the place where basically now Lord Kapila Devi is telling Mother Devhuti that one could basically meditate on the lotus face of the Lord, right, which is extremely beautiful. So extremely means the most beautiful, right? There is no nothing else which is more beautiful than the lotus feet of the lotus face of the Lord. So let's begin the recitation for today, right? यच्छ्री निकेतम् अलिभिः परिसेव्यमानं भूत्या स्वया कुटिलकुन्तलवृन्दजुष्टम् मीनाद्वयाश्रयम् अधिक्षिपद अब्जनेत्रं ध्यायेन मनोमयम् अतन्द्रित उल्लसद्भ्रू यच्छ्री निकेतम् अलिभिः परिसेव्यमानं भूत्या स्वया कुटिलकुन्तलवृन्दजुष्टम् मीनाद्वयाश्रयम् अधिक्षिपद अब्जनेत्रं ध्यायेन मनोमयमतन्द्रित उल्लसद्भ्रू यच्छ्री निकेतम् अलिभिः परिसेव्यमानं भूत्या स्वया कुटिलकुन्तलवृन्दजुष्टम् मीनाद्वयाश्रयम् अधिक्षिपद अब्जनेत्रं ध्यायेन मनोमयमतन्द्रित उल्लसद्भ्रू. Prabhuji, if you want to recite the sloka, anyone would?
यच्छ्री निकेतम् अलिभिः परिश्वयामानं भूत्या स्वया कुटिला कुन्तला वृन्दजुष्टम् मीनाद्वयश्रयम् अधिक्षिपद अब्जनेत्रम् ध्यायेन मनोमयम् अतन्द्रित उल्लसद्भ्रू.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So, Srila Prabhupada, even if there is some here and there, something missing here and there, even then with full enthusiasm we should recite or chant Bhagavatam verses. Srila Prabhupada has said that Bhagavatam verses are not just slokas, these are mantras. Each and every sloka is a mantra, and we should keep on, as and when opportunity comes, we should keep on reciting or chanting the slokas of Srimad Bhagavatam. And even with any small here things missing here and there, all the great saintly personalities, they accept a description of or basically recitation of Krishna's glory. So with that we will proceed. Word by word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace Krishna Srila Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Word by word meaning. Yat, which face of the Lord? Sri Niketam, a lotus. Alibhi, by bees. Parisevyamanam, surrounded. Bhotya, by elegance. Swaya, its. Kutila, curly. Kuntala, of hair. Vrinda, by a multitude. Jushtam, adorned. Meena, of fish. Dvaya, a pair. Asrayam, dwelling. Adhikshipat, putting to shame. Abja, a lotus. Netram, having eyes. Dhyayeta, one should meditate on. Manahamayam, formed in the mind. atandritaha, attentive, ullasat, dancing, bhru, having eyebrows. Translation: the yogi then meditates upon the beautiful face of the Lord, which is adorned with curly hair and decorated by lotus-like eyes and dancing eyebrows. A lotus surrounded by swarming bees and a pair of swimming fish would be put to shame by its elegance. So, what happens? We give the closest example available in the material world, right? That's what we use to describe Lord's beauty. So, the lotus, a good lotus in a clean water, and fragrant lotus, and around which bees are circling, and they are trying to extract juice, right? And fish, like let's suppose there are multiple fishes in the pond, and they are circling the lotus. So that we are using this example or this scene, to which we can correlate. We are using this to come close to the description of the beauty of the lotus face of the Lord. But this is also not sufficient at all. That's why it is mentioned this sight, right? A lotus is there, bees are swarming around it, and fish, a pair of swimming fish, right? They are also, it's mentioned that they would be put to shame by what? Krishna's or Lord Paramatma's or Lord Vishnu, right? Vishnu's lotus face, right? So Lord is actually most beautiful, the most beautiful. We will see purport. One important statement here is Dhyayena Manomayam. Manomayam is not imagination. Impersonalists think that the yogi can imagine any form he likes. But as stated here, the yogi must meditate upon the form of the Lord, which is experienced by devotees. So devotees never imagine a form of the Lord. They are not satisfied by something imaginary. The Lord has different eternal forms. Each devotee likes a particular form and thus engages himself in the service of the Lord by worshipping that form. The Lord's form is depicted in different ways according to scriptures. As already discussed, there are 8 kinds of representations of the original form of the Lord. These representations can be produced by the use of clay, stone, wood, paint, sand, etc., depending upon the resources of the devotee. Manomayam is carving of the form of the Lord within the mind. This is included as one of the 8 different carvings of the form of the Lord. So here, this form, right? Clay, stone, wood, paint, sand, 5. One is in the mind also, right? So this Manomayam is authentic, authentic form of the Lord, which actually is meditated upon within our mind, within the mind of a devotee. Right? And what devotee does? A devotee actually meditates on one of the form which is mentioned in the scripture, not concocting on one's own. Right? That's very important. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions about, or even in Srimad Bhagavatam here, right? In third, same canto, 25th chapter, devotional service. The chapter was regarding devotional service. There, what is the quality of a sadhu or devotee? Sadhava sadhu bhusana. That last quartet, right? Titikshava karunika. In that sloka, sadhava sadhu bhusana. Let's see quickly, right? That's a very, very instructive actually. 25. Yeah. Let's see the glory. Yeah, here this sadhava. It will say, let's see, abiding by the scripture. Yeah. This is the quality. This is one of the very prominent quality of a devotee or Mahatma or Sadhu, right? So they don't imagine something. They meditate on that form of the Lord, which is mentioned in the scripture, right? Lord Nrsimhadev. How Nrsimhadev looks, that also basically is clearly mentioned, right? When he appeared, then 7th canto, 9th chapter, 8th chapter itself, right? So 19 to 21, 19 to 22, 4 or 5 verses are there. So that is one form of the Lord Nrsimhadev. So if one meditates, a devotee meditates, he would refer to the form described in bona fide scriptures, not whimsically, right? And his dress is also described. His face, the features are also, everything is described precisely in the scripture. So let's proceed. It is not imagination. Meditation on the actual form of the Lord may be manifested in different manners, but one should not conclude that one has to imagine a form. No, there are 2 comparisons in this verse. First, the Lord's face is compared to a lotus, and then his black hair is compared to humming bees swarming around the lotus. And his two eyes are compared to two fish swimming about. A lotus flower on the water is very beautiful when surrounded by humming bees and fish. The Lord's face is self-sufficient and complete. His beauty defies the natural beauty of a lotus. So here, multiple things about the Lord's curly hair, right? That is also previously described in second canto. It is not only curly, but it's mentioned snigdha amla kunchita neela kuntale, like that. So we'll see that, refer to that. And there is like multiple qualities of the hair itself, right? His Kesav, there are multiple meaning. Yeah. So kill the Kesi demon. He is worshipped by Brahma and Save, right? That is, there are two meanings. Third meaning is like a hair is extremely beautiful, attractive, right? Most beautiful. So Lord's face is self-sufficient and complete. This is very deep statement. How? It means that it's not that by putting a flower or some other decorative item, Lord becomes more beautiful. No. His face, lotus face, is complete beauty in itself, in himself, right? So he doesn't depend on something else to beautify his face. So that's the meaning of this sentence: self-sufficient and complete. He doesn't depend on anything material or even anything. By the way, nothing is external to the Lord, but he doesn't need anything separate to beautify, further decorate his face. So he doesn't need that. That's the meaning here. His beauty defies the natural beauty of a lotus. So it is worth contemplating. Let's see the next verse. तस्यावलोकम् अधिकं कृपयाति घोर तापत्रयोपशमनाय निश्रेष्टमक्ष्णोः स्निग्धस्मितानुगुणितं विपुलप्रसादं ध्यायेच्चिरं विपुलभावनया गुहायाम् तस्यावलोकमधिकं कृपयाति घोर तापत्रयोपशमनाय निश्रेष्टमक्ष्णोः स्निग्धस्मितानुगुणितं विपुलप्रसादं ध्यायेच्चिरं विपुलभावनया गुहायाम् तस्यावलोकम् अधिकं कृपयाति घोर तापत्रयोपशमनाय निश्रेष्टमक्ष्णोः स्निग्धस्मितानुगुणितं विपुलप्रसादं ध्यायेच्चिरं विपुलभावनया गुहायाम्. Anyone would like to recite? You could recite, you can wait. It's extremely beautiful verse. Okay, we will proceed with word by word meaning, translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Tasya, of the personality of Godhead, avalokam, glances, adhikam, frequent, kripaya, with compassion, ati ghora, most fearful, tapatraya, threefold agonies, upashamanaya, soothing, nisrishtam, cast, akshano, from his eyes, snigdha, loving, smita, smiles, Anugunitam, accompanied by Vipula, abundant, Prasadam, full of grace, Dhyayeta, he should contemplate, Chiram, for a long time, Vipula, full, Bhavanaya, with devotion, Guhayam, in the heart. So this means that form of the Lord in the heart. We will see. Translation. The yogi should contemplate with full devotion the compassionate glances frequently cast by the Lord's eyes, for they soothe the most fearful threefold agonies of his devotees. His glances, accompanied by loving smiles, are full of abundant grace. Right. So, Lord is always compassion. He always has a mild smile on his lotus face, and he looks at the devotee with extreme mercy and compassion. Right. So, there are so many things to be discussed about it. We will discuss after the purport. As long as one is in conditional life in the material body, it is natural that he will suffer from anxieties and agonies. One cannot avoid the influence of material energy, even when one is on the transcendental plane. Yeah, pain might be there, and it is told about the great devotees that they may not feel suffering because of that. What it means is that their mood in the service, right? Service to the Lord, that does not get affected by pain, right? So this is applicable to very advanced devotees or pure devotees. Yeah, in the beginning it's for purification, and for pure devotees, any material impediments or body, some pain, what that, or any problem, bodily problem they suffer from, that is for their glorification. That despite such impediments or severe pain, they are basically they are still, fully steady on the devotional path, devotional service, right? So their schedule will not change. They will continue to, chant. They will continue to glorify the, pastimes of Krishna and all that. So let's see. We saw that, right? But Srila Prabhupada is a prime example of that. Even on the last moment on the bed in Vrindavan Dham, right? How he left, how he left his body. He basically continued to recite the purports of Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 13th chapter, right? So that's basically, you can see that, who is in control of his, who doesn't control of his environment, and he is not suffering, right? Pain was there, but he was not suffering because of that, and he was fully engaged with full consciousness in doing devotional service, not till the last breath. That's the standard, that's the benchmark Srila Prabhupada has set up. We will see. Sometimes disturbance come, but the agonies and anxieties of the devotees are at once mitigated when they think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His beautiful form or the smiling face of the Lord. The Lord bestows innumerable favors upon His devotee, and the greatest manifestation of His grace is His smiling face, which is full of compassion for His pure devotees. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा। So this situation, right now we are actually going through the description of Lord's lotus face. Every limb of Lord is compared with lotus, right, in its pure form. So there is nothing more beautiful, and it is said that than a lotus, and it is said that the lotus is not of this material world. Like, for example, before the secondary creation happened, where did Brahmaji appear? He appeared on a lotus which grew from the abdomen of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, right? So lotus was present before Brahmaji's secondary creation, right? So yeah, that way we can say that lotus comes closest, in terms of beauty, it comes closest to basically Lord's limbs, right? So his feet, we call it lotus feet, right? His hand, we say lotus hand. His face, we say lotus face, right? All this, right? So that's like it, right? The color wise, tenderness wise, beauty wise, everything, right? So it's extremely beautiful, right? Lots of different limbs, most beautiful. So there are several things. So let's see some of the things right here, beginning with the previous verse number 30. Yeah, here. Yes, Sri Niketanam. See, lotus itself is called Sri Niketanam. Yeah, right. So let's begin here. Yeah, beautiful face. The yogi then meditates upon the beautiful face of the Lord, which is adorned with curly hair and decorated by lotus-like eyes and dancing eyebrows. Yeah, dancing eyebrows means, yeah, in the Paramatma description in second canto, let's see, and that sloka is very sweet. Adin Leela Hasitek Chano Lasad, Bhrubhanga Samsuchit Bhuri Anugraham. Ikchet, let's open the verse. Yeah, this one. Yeah, the chapter is entitled The Lord in the Heart. Paramatma, Hridaya mein Paramatma. So, like that. So, we will see. Or Deen. Deen means, like a poor or something. Adeen means magnanimous, I just mentioned. Very magnanimous. Yeah. Adeen Leela Hasitek Chanulasad. Bhrubhanga Samsuchit Bhori Anugraham. This is what I wanted to refer here. Yeah, right? So, let's see. Bhrubhang. What is the meaning here? Bhrubhang means signals of the eyebrows. So how, when does it happen? When someone, just let's imagine, let's just think, common man, right? If one is very happy, right, extremely happy, and with some of his, friends or family, or some maybe with wife or some, right, something like that, right, and then only in that kind of jubilant situation, jubilant mood, one would, so have basically this kind of behavior, right? So see here. The Lord's magnanimous pastimes and the glowing glances of his smiling face are all indications of his extensive benedictions. So here, signal of the eyebrows. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. So Paramatma or Krishna, Vishnu, right? They're always happy. By constitution or by definition, the Lord can never be morose or plain-faced or stone-faced, this, dead face. This kind of, expressions can never be in the Lord, right? Because the thing is, he's always Sachidanand Ghan, right? Is condensed, condensed form of such Chit and Anand, right? So he's always, happy with mild smile, on his lips, yeah, and compassionate glance. Anyway, let's come back here to today's topic. Yeah. So this happens all the time. This is all the time. Like this is the mood and face of the Lord all the time. Not only sometimes, yeah. And his face is surrounded by swarming bees, right? So a lotus is surrounded by swarming bees, yeah, right. And that is compared to the curly hair, sweet, like very nice, curly hairs, right? So let's see 8, 9, 10, right? I think 10th verse is that, yeah. Oh, not 10th. Let's see 11th. I also forgot, yeah. Snigdha, yeah, this is what I was referring earlier. Snigdha Amala Kunchit Neel Kuntalair. Snigdha Amal Kunchit Neel Kuntalair. Let's see the meaning of that. Yeah, so Snigdh means slick, Amal spotless, Akunchit curling, bluish hair. Yeah, see, Lord's hair, more detailed description is mentioned here. Yeah, so yeah, his oiled hair curling with a bluish tint, right? So it's extremely beautiful sight. Yeah, I just wanted to get a little more detail into Lord's the description of Lord's curly hair. So that was mentioned in second canto itself. Yeah. So the hair is also so beautiful that many poets have written nice compositions just to describe curly hair itself. Right. His Grace Sarvabhauma Prabhu ji, when he visits us, then many times he has recited that. Yeah. So that was. One famous Indian devotee, he actually, in Urdu poetry itself, that person actually quoted something in a competition, some poetry competition or whatever. So anyway, the point is that Lord's curly hairs, that is also extremely beautiful. And basically every limb, every aspect of Lord is extremely beautiful. And actually, if we remember previously in the 25th chapter itself, Lord Kapiladeva mentions to his mother, Devavati, that the benefit of the yogi is, what is that? Main benefit of the devotees. There he says the pure devotees itself, not Stang Yogi or others. So he says their main benefit, the main thing which they derive is basically the beautiful form of the Lord visible in the temple, right? In the deity form, right? So there is not, Srila Prabhupada says in previous verses in this chapter itself, there is not much difference, between basically, between having, darshan of Lord in the deity form, of course, the authorized form of authorized deity form, and seeing the Lord in the Paramatma, as Paramatma in the heart. And Srila Prabhupada also mentions that trying to contemplate on the form of the Lord in the heart is more difficult. The easier part or easier way is that we can have darshan of Lord directly in front of us in the temple, any bona fide Vishnu temple, right? So where Lord is worshipped nicely, properly by devotees, and he's well dressed, he's offered nice offerings, right? So there we can basically have darshan of the Lord in a much easier way, right? We just have to walk up to the temple, travel up to the temple, and we can have darshan of the Lord. And I'm sure most of us would have had the experience that however long we keep seeing the Lord, we never feel fully satisfied or content, right? We keep on seeing the Lord, and Lord looks ever beautiful. We never feel bored, right? So that is possible only when we are actually looking at the Lord. He's completely transcendental, right? So there are several other places. Another aspect of okay, another thing. When we go to the temple, so far I have been describing that we go and have the darshan of the Lord, right? Directly Archa Vigraha is most beautiful, right? In even Archa Vigraha form. He is non-different from Krishna. Srila Prabhupada insisted many times. That is one. Now coming from other way, we go to the temple not only to see the Lord from our eyes, but we also go there, as per the next verse, 31st verse, that Krishna also sees us. Of course, for that we have to be humble. That is the first and foremost criteria, and we have to be very jubilant, right? Internally, that we are coming to see the Lord, and we have to have a respectful attitude towards all His devotees. That's the biggest thing: humility and very respectful attitude towards all His devotees, right? If we are, angry on some devotee or envious against some of the devotees, Lord would not like to see us. The main aspect to which I am coming is Lord also sees us. I mentioned the basic qualifications, right? That when would Lord see? And we should perform some devotional service, right? Some small or big doesn't matter. Some or other service, if we perform in good attitude, right? And have maintaining good relation with his devotees, right? Then Lord also sees. Yeah, it's not that he will see everyone and anyone, not like that. Yeah. So that's the thing here. So yeah, in that situation, with that mood, if we are performing some service, then as His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to tell, that do something, act in some such way, or do the devotional service in such way that Lord would like to see you, right? So that for that we have to put some effort, right? And we have to be conscious and careful all the time, at least while we are in the temple. Otherwise also, but definitely in the temple. So then Lord sees us. So not only we see the Lord, but Lord also sees us, right? There's a famous pastime of Surdas ji or Vrindavan, one famous great devotee from Vrindavan, probably Surdas, but I'm not sure, So he used to come every day to the temple, which is famous Banke Bihari temple, right? Vrindavan, as soon as you hear, then Krishna Balaram temple, Banke Bihari temple, these are some of the most well-known temples. So one time, some youths, when the local youths, or I don't know who, so they felt, like laughing. They thought that this person is blind, and what purpose is served that he comes to temple in front of the Lord. So they commented, Babaji, आप तो अंधे हैं, you are blind, आप तो भगवान को देख नहीं पाते हैं, you are not able to see Lord, Radha Krishna. Then फिर आप कैसे आते हैं, क्यों आते हैं, like that. They asked, why are you coming there? Then Surdas, or whoever the saint was, he replied, I may not be able to see the Lord, but Lord is not blind. He is able to see me. He always sees me. So it's like I, definitely do my due diligence. I come and Lord sees me. That itself is a very big thing. That's the most important thing, right? Lord sees us. That's the most important thing. We seeing the Lord is one thing that is also very important, for our spiritual progress. As I mentioned in the beginning of 30th verse, earlier it's mentioned in previous verses, that our thick layer of ignorance, right? Tamogun ka thick layer, right? That gets destroyed, and the accumulated mountain of sin that gets, that gets broken by seeing the form of the Lord in the temple, right? So it's compared that Lord's darshan is like a thunderbolt which breaks the mountain peaks, big mountain peaks of our sinful accumulated sins, right? like that. So both ways we have to be sincere. Yeah, seeing the form of the Lord based on our own endeavor, and then acting and acting in such a way that Lord actually may cast His merciful glance on us. Right now, the Lord's, we always use this word amazing, most beautiful, because we, means at least I don't have a direct experience of Lord, face to face standing before me. Of course, Archa Vigraha is not different, but still, when Lord personally deals with someone as a person standing in front of you, that's a somewhat different. Yeah, so that's a little different even compared to Paramatma. Even if we are able to see Paramatma, very clearly within our heart, even then, Lord being present in front of us, that's completely different. So one prime example of that is Dhruv Maharaj, right? So he was also initiated by Narad Muni. When Dhruv Maharaj took a determination vow that he will go to forest to please Lord Vishnu and then get basically the boon of having a kingdom better than his great grandfather or grandfather, right? So that time when Brahmaji was satisfied with the determination and seriousness of Dhruv Maharaj, then he describes in 7 verses, the beautiful form of the Lord on which he should focus, like Dhruv Maharaj should focus, right? So let's quickly just recap that. It's a very, very, advanced. Let's see. Synonym, we don't need, let's go to 45th verse. Here, see. Prasadabhimukham saswat prasanna vadane kshanam sunasang subhruvam charu kapolam sura sundaram, right? The Lord face is perpetually very beautiful, as I was saying earlier, right? It's not that sometimes he's happy, sometimes he is, some anxiety is there. No. See, his eyes, everything similar, very similar, but here also in a very sweet verses, Narad Muni is describing the form of Paramatma on which Dhruv Maharaj should meditate in his heart, right? So all that. Tarunang Ramaniyangam Arunoshthekshana Pranataasrayanam Nirmanam Saranyam Karunardamam. Yeah, Lord is Saranyam. See, Saranyam is the Lord is always worthy to be master of the surrendered soul, for he is the ocean of the mercy, right? Eyes and lips are pinkish like the rising sun, right? So that is also many things we can go through later on our own. Sri Vatsankam Ghanasyamang Purushang Vanamalinam Shankha Chakra Gada Padmai Avivakta Chaturbhujam. Yeah, so Sri Vatsamark and Kaustubha Muni, these are very unique to Lord himself. So even if someone gets the spiritual body in a spiritual world, no one would have those two features, Sri Vatsamark and Kaustubha Muni. Let's see. Kiritinam Kundalinam, Kayura, Valayanvitam, Kaustubhabharan Grivam, Pita Kauseya Vasasam. Yeah. So Kaustubha is mentioned here. Srivasmark was in previous verse. Kanchi Kalapa Pariyastam, Lasata Kanchana Nupuram, Darsaniya Tamang Shantang, Mano Nayana Vardhanam. What a sweet composition. Because this is the closest we can come to a description of the Lord's face, right? See, Darsaniya Tamang. So there are so many Darsaniya. In Hindi we call it now Darsaniya Sthal. Wahan ja rahe. No, actually Lord is Darsaniya Tamang. Darsaniya, Darsaniya Tar, Darsaniya Tam. He is the most beautiful and worthy of having darshan. And Shantang Mano Nayan Vardhanam. Yeah, mind and eyes, both actually it gives a pleasure, right? They calm and quiet and very pleasing to the eyes and mind, right? Let's see next. Padbhyam Nakmani Srenya Vilasadbhyam Samarchatam Hrit Padma Karnika Dhishnam Akramyatmani Avasthitam. Right? So where does Lord stand or sit? He sits on the or stands on the lotus of the heart of the pure devotees. Wherever Srila Prabhupada says devotee, that means pure devotee, practically. Yeah, see. He stands on the whirl of the lotus of their hearts, the jewel-like nails of his lotus feet glittering. Actually, again, the light, emanating from the toe nails of Vishnu or Krishna, right? That itself is so effulgent and so powerful, most powerful, most beautiful. It destroys all the ignorance, and other anarthas from our heart, right? Let's say the last one, 7th. Actually, there are 7 verses in which Naradji describes the form on which Dhruv Maharaj should meditate. Smayamanam abhidhyayat sanuragavalokanam niyate naika bhutena manasa vardar sabham. See, Lord is always smiling. Again, right? Same description. Devotees should constantly see the Lord in this form, as he looks very mercifully toward the devotee. In this way, the meditator should look toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the bestower of all benediction. Vardar Sabham means bestower of all benediction. Yeah. Anyway, I was just trying to, draw some parallel from some other places in Srimad Bhagavatam. Whole idea is that Krishna's lotus face, Paramatma, non very similar description. It's not that Paramatma is not, as like Vishnu is little inferior. No, it's Krishna's expansion only, right? So practically the descriptions are same. Now coming to another aspect which I wanted to share. For let's devotees being attracted to Krishna's lotus face, one thing, but his face is so beautiful that Krishna himself gets attracted to his own face, the beauty of his face, right? We might remember in Vrindavan Dham, actually, in Gokul or Vrindavan, when Krishna was performing his pastimes, when he used to, crawl or walk, and sometimes he would see reflection of his own face in the shining pillars. And Krishna, while stealing butter from other gopis' house, after stealing, when he's eating the butter, happily eating the butter, at that time suddenly he saw his own face in mirror, and he thought that he's another person, another child. Okay, so he tried to, and he thought, so beautiful. Who is this? Like that, and he tried to feed that same butter and the butter to his own reflection. Of course, the butter fell from the pillar, and then Krishna becomes angry, as if angry on the boy in the mirror, in the image, right? And then, so of course, he speaks in the Braj Bhasha, but he becomes angry. Okay, you don't want to eat? Go to just get lost or something. I don't know the exact words. So I will not put words in the mouth of Krishna, right? So he becomes angry, that as if the boy in the reflection is a different person. So he gets reflected to his own beauty. It's a very perplexing thing, actually, But the point is, and his lotus face is most appreciated by the topmost devotee, who is Srimati Radharani, of course. We can all appreciate based on our own level of purity, but otherwise, concentrating on focusing on Krishna's face, lotus face, is the very powerful way to basically clear up our ignorance and free from anarthas. Of course, we should begin from the lotus feet. In that regard, Srila Prabhupada, by the way, there is a parallel between Lord's limbs and Srimad Bhagavatam itself, right? The famous thing is basically it's the lotus feet. Two lotus feet are actually compared with the two, basically first two cantos, right? That's mentioned. Padav yadiyo prathama ditiyo tritiya turiyo kathito yaduru. Anyway, we know like the first two cantos compared to his lotus feet, third and fourth compared to thighs, fifth is navel, sixth is basically chest, right? 7 and 8 are two of his arms, and Swamasundar Krishna, right? And then 9th is his throat or neck, right? Neck. And then 10th is Mukharavindam, right? Mukharavindam is his 10th, basically, right? 10th canto, right? And then 11th is Lalat, little forehead. And 12th is his basically head on the Sesna, right? Like that. So that's one way. Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from the person Krishna. It's not the abstract or literary. Of course, called a literary incarnation, but there is no difference between basically holy name of Krishna and pastime of Krishna. As Srila Prabhupada says, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila, right? Name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, right? And these are non-different from Krishna. That's the absolute nature. So, when we recite or read, study Srimad Bhagavatam with full attention and respect, then we are directly seeing the form of the Lord, right? As Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purports, that we can see the face of Krishna in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. We can have darshan of Krishna. So Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was there. His worshipable deity was directly Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, no separate deity, external deity, no, nothing like that. By the way, coming back to the beauty of Lord's lotus face, the final example, one aspect I would like to illustrate here. You know what happened? When Krishna appears, whether here, right, in this or fourth canto, right? So let's see one beautiful aspect from the fourth canto, right? I will show, right? When Krishna appears finally in front of Dhruv Maharaj, with Lord Vishnu, right? Sahasra Seeds incarnation. When he appears in front of Dhruv Maharaj forgets everything, and basically Lord is so beautiful as a whole, the countenance of the Lord, that Dhruv Maharaj wants to kiss him. Dhruv Maharaj is drinking the form of the Lord with his eyes, from using his eyes, and he wants to catch Lord present in before. Let's see this one. One of my favorite sloka from this pastime, Dhruv Maharaj pastime. Taddarsanena agata sadhva sakshitav avandataangam vinamaya dandavat drigbhyang prapashyan prapivan nivarbhakas chumban nivasyena bhujairivashlishan. See, okay, let me enable the synonym also. That's very important. Yeah. See here. Drigbhyang prapasyan. It is not just pasyan. Prapasyan means prakarsena pasyan, like he was looking as if there is nothing else in the whole world. And prapasyan, yeah, means anyway, fully, completely like looking, as good as adjective you can put. That's why it's mentioned. Prakarsa, prapasyan, prapivan. See, seeing, drinking, everything is prefixed with this pratyay, right? Prapivan. Drinking means not just like, normal drinking, but holistically drinking like that, or like the child. Chumban, kissing, right? Asyena, with his mouth, yeah. He wanted to embrace Lord, right? We read in Sikshastakam, right? Aslisya vapadartam penashtamam, right? This aslis means embracing. Let's see here. See, when Dhruv Maharaj saw his Lord just in front of him, he was greatly agitated and offered him obeisances in respect. Now, he fell flat before him like a rod and became absorbed in love of Godhead. Dhruv Maharaj, in ecstasy, this is the point I was coming to, looked upon the Lord as if he were drinking the Lord with his eyes, kissing the lotus feet of the Lord with his mouth, and embracing the Lord with his arms. See, 5 years old child. Of course, he was fully purified till by the time Lord appeared there. But I'm just saying that Krishna's form, Lord Vishnu's form, is so beautiful that devotees always feel like this. They want to either kiss the Lord, they want to, they actually drink the form of the Lord like this, and they want to catch, catch means, and they want to embrace the Lord, right? Not only here, let's see another place. When today is, by the way, Vamana Dwadasi, right? So Lord Vamana, they appearance time around noon, right? Avijiti Muhurt. So there is another thing. When Mother Aditi performed Payovrata, then first time when Lord appeared there, let's see what happened to Mother Aditi. So that's let's see the examples, right? Then we will see. It is not only limited to child Dhruv, right? Oh, not 4th, but 8th canto, 17th chapter and 7. Yeah, this one. Let's see. Yeah, see, when at the end of the Payovrata, when Lord appeared, first he gave darshan, later he again appeared from the womb. That's a different. But this is just at the successful conclusion of Payovrata, right? Let's see the verse. Pritya shaneir gadgadaya gira harim tushtavasa devyaditi kurudvaha udvikshati sa pivati vachakchusa rama patim yagyapatim jagatpatim. See the meaning here. See, udvikshati sa pivati vachakchusa. Yeah. Let's see here. Mother Aditi's situation, right? Yeah. She appeared as though drinking through her eyes the Supreme Lord, right? Who is the goddess of Earth. I am saying that it is not just for Dhruv Maharaj, who is a small child, 5.5-year-old child, but it is for everyone. And now let's see one more verse. Yeah, when Krishna actually gets Jarasandha killed by Bhima, right? After that, by that time Jarasandha had captured many kings, right? Small kings or big kings, and he wanted to, offer them as sacrifice, whatever. So let's see. So when they are freed, then they are very emancipated and all that. They're very actually hungry and lean and mean. But when coming out of the prison of Jarasandha, those kings, when they see, Krishna, then what is their condition? Let's see. Here, the last 2 verses. Brajadwara manigrivam. Let me open the English one only. Brajadwara manigrivam nivitang vanamalaya pibanta iva chakchurbhyam lihanta iva jihvaya. Lihanta means licking, right? Jigranta iva nasabhyam rambhanta iva bahubhi pranemur hata papmano murdhabhi padayor hare. Let's see the meaning of these two, at the here. Yeah, the kings seemed to drink his beauty with their eyes, lick him with their tongue. See, kings are like elderly persons, right? Or young, at least young or elder, right? They are not like small like Dhruv Maharaj. But even them, yeah, they had the same feeling aroused in their heart as soon as they saw Krishna, right? Krishna's, of course, form is previously described, that drink his beauty with their eyes, lick him with their tongues. See, the grown-up, the grown-up human, right? Human being. Relish his fragrance with their nostrils and embrace him with their arms. right? And their past sins now eradicated. The kings all bowed down to Lord Hari, placing their heads at his feet. The point I was again emphasizing was Lord's form is so beautiful that whoever sees the Lord, if he's not envious person, yeah, envious person can never appreciate glory of Krishna, right? But otherwise we can see that how attracted any living being, yeah, they feel, yeah. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was passing through the forest of Jharkhand, the animals they started surrounding him, and deers and other animals, they started licking his lotus feet, and they were dancing in the Harinam Sankirtan, and he was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah, of course, he was not chanting, he was loudly performing Sankirtan for the benefit of even animals, forest dwelling animals, right? So, all I'm just trying to say, we just refer to the most beautiful things in this world just to indicate Lord's beauty, but it's impossible even for a most learned poet to even come close to describe his beauty, even after trying millions of years. So, it's like that. So, yeah, these things we heard, uncomparable beauty. That's why the name Krishna itself means, right, that he's all attractive, means he attracts everyone, right? He attracts everyone, unless the person is, or the soul is covered with envy or what. That if that is the case, then it's different. Like Duryodhana and others, right? He also saw the Lord in the Kuru Sabha and many other times, but he was not able to feel attracted, yeah, by the beauty of Lord, as like the Pandavas, who are the pure devotees, right? One more thing I want to share. There's a famous. Let me open one pastime. Uranga, yeah, sorry, this one. This is very, very sweet and beautiful pastime from Ramanujacharya side, right? See the photo, actually, in a village like in South India, right? He was, it's mentioned actually, yeah. So one wrestler was there who was he was very handsome, and there was another girl who was most beautiful in all surrounding villages or towns. So he got married to her, but even after marriage, he was so mesmerized by her beauty all the time that he never took his eyes off from the eyes of his wife, right? So she was Ponnachi, right? She was extremely beautiful, and this is Willisan. What is his name? Pillai Uranga Villidasan. He was a powerful listener. And Ponnachi was also most beautiful girl. And they both got married by plan of the, divine or whatever. So, even while going, once they were visiting Sri Ranganath Swami, okay. So, see, this lady, Ponnachi, she is going towards the temple, and look at his posture. He is walking backwards. Villidasan is walking backwards because he cannot take his eyes off from the eyes of or face of his wife, who is most beautiful, and he's holding the umbrella for her, and he's walking backwards. He is walking forward, and he is walking backward. He was so much mesmerized and fully, you could say, attracted to his wife's beauty all the time. Right side, when you see, these are the disciples of Ramanujacharya, and Ramanujacharya is also figuratively here shown that actually he saw this happening. So he was, astonished to see this situation between a man and woman. Of course, they were married. Okay, so he was perplexed, but he thought, let me, give mercy to Villidasan, right? So then he tells Ramanujacharya tells his disciples to bring this person to him within his room, right, near the temple or inside the temple courtyard. So then Villidasan goes there. Ramanujacharya asks him that, why are you doing like this in front of near the Lord's temple? Then he says, if you show me anything more beautiful than my wife's eyes, right? Ponachi's eyes, right? Beautiful eyes, right? Then like show me anything. There is nothing more beautiful than my wife's eyes. Okay, like that. He claims. Villidasan claims like that. Then Ramanujacharya says, what if I show you something more beautiful, right? Then he accepts, Villidasan accepts the challenge. And Lord Ramanujacharya, his Acharya also, and his Lord's empowered incarnation also, right? So, yeah, Anand says incarnation only. So, then he takes Villidasan with him near Lord Ranganath Swami, and then he prays to the Lord. Not, it didn't happen just like that. He prays very sincerely and fervently to the Lord. Please show your beautiful eyes, the actual darshan of your beautiful eyes, show it to Villidasan, and please bless him. Lord Ranganath could not refuse such prayers from Ramanujacharya, and he manifested and he showed Vilidasan the most beautiful eyes darshan, right? And then that moment Vilidasan was completely lost in ecstasy, which cannot be described in words, right? We just use amazing, most beautiful, these are the words. We use just these words, but Vilidasan was able to have darshan of Lord's most beautiful eyes by mercy of Ramanujacharya. From that day, he started, he gave up all other occupation like wrestling and other thing. He started staying near the temple with his wife, and they were just serving Ramanujacharya as per his instruction. They were serving the Lord. So all I'm trying to say that it's simply non-describable. Yeah, we cannot describe enough or sufficient. Even Anantadev is not able to describe so far. Yeah, coming back all the way. So yeah, let's come back actually. Yeah. So point is, when will this happen, right? So for example, it's not that I'm free of anarthas, right? The point is, this happens when we have this param drishtvani vartate, right? Bhagavad Gita 2.59, right? Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtvani vartate. This param drishtvani vartate means getting the higher taste or the highest taste. That unless that happens, unless Lord really reveals himself to us, reveals in the sense his truly relishing his beauty, his pastime, all this to be able to truly appreciate that will happen only by the causeless mercy of Lord. And that will happen when we please our spiritual master and we are good behaved or good we have devotee qualities, we develop those. So Krishna will not forcibly give us those. We have to endeavor and then basically do something which will please our respective gurus and hence Srila Prabhupada, right? So if we are successful in pleasing, making our guru happy with our service, then we can expect that Krishna will reveal, he will genuinely give us that higher taste that after that we will never be attracted at all to any material enjoyment, or we will not be we will not have any taste for material enjoyment. We will be fully and extremely happy in Krishna's service. Yeah. So these were the points I wanted to share. Time is up. If there is any question, you could ask. Otherwise, I will stop here. If there is any question, please do ask. One point was there I missed out. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada says that a Muni who contemplates on the form of the Lord, tries to contemplate, meditate in his heart, better than that Muni is a devotee who is doing a practical devotional service. That Srila Prabhupada is mentioned in the previous verses of this chapter itself. Yeah, that devotee is doing practical devotional service, whether it's a book distribution or doing something in the temple, cleaning the temple, whatever, cutting vegetables, or doing any sort of seva, or basically Srila Prabhupada says that better than meditating in the heart, we should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or we should chant the glories of Krishna from Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, all that. So that devotee performing practical devotional service, his position is better than Stang Yogi who is trying to meditate on the Lord in his heart. And it is more devotees, the practical devotional service, that is more more authentic, because imagination on the heart, not easy to fix heart on the not easy to basically meditate on the Lord in the heart. It's not easy. Anyway, I will stop here. If there is any comment, any question, I will be happy to respond. Okay.
Prabhu, no question as such, but wonderful description of the beautiful form of the Lord and beautifully described. So, that's the quality of a Vaishnava. Thank you so much for the very nice description and very nice, correlation with a lot of things. And the striking thing was the example of, Willi, the devotee.
Yeah, Willi Dasan.
Yeah. Willi Dasan. So
yeah.
That's something really, really beautiful. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for a wonderful class.
Prabhuji, I'm grateful. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for encouraging. Actually, my only service is just to, share a few lines from Srila Prabhupada books from here and there. That's the only thing I'm doing. Rest is Guru Parampara, Guru and Srila Prabhupada's mercy. And encouraging words from you, senior devotees like you. This Willi Dasan pastime is very special. If you read that blog in your spare time, it will just melt and touch your heart like anything. So that is extremely special. First, I heard about this pastime from His Grace Kripamay Gaurang Prabhu during my Bhakti Vriksha. Later, I was doing Google search and then figured out this. This blog is very special. I will share with devotees individually. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. धन्यवाद. All glory. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.
Jai.
गौर प्रेमानंद. हरि हरि बोल.
Hari Hari.